Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Saturday, 14th of January 2023. In today's Millwall news today was a match day and the inevitable defeat away at Middlesbrough came about. We lost 1-0 up there. If you see the video that I made yesterday, you'll see that historically our trips up to the Riverside and Ayrton Park before that have often led to defeat, and it was no different today. And I don't know if you can really say this, but it was a good defeat. We didn't get beaten. We weren't overawed. The team tried very hard. They put a lot of effort in. And in terms of Middlesbrough's goal, they did get a bit of luck. And we kind of restricted them in terms of their clear-cut chances, and they restricted us in turn. So yeah, we lost 1-0. So this is the match report from millfc.co.uk. Middlesbrough defeated Millwall 1-0 in the Sky Bet Championship on Saturday afternoon. Marcus Forces' second half strike condemned the Lions to defeat on the road at the Riverside Stadium. Gary Rowett opted to make one change from the side, which defeated Rotherham United 3-0 on New Year's Day, as George Longwood gained his place in goal at the expense of Bartosz Białkowski. Callum Styles, meanwhile, overcame an injury to take his place in midfield alongside Billy Mitchell. Yeah, that was a bit of a shocker that George Saville didn't start. So have we got a situation again where Gary Rowett says, okay, we'll keep the same team more or less. He doesn't want to bring Saville in, which Saville, when he came on, was like a breath of fresh air. What can you do? It was to be Matt Crooks who would have the first attempt of the game. His effort from an acute angle was comfortable for long in just the third minute. Millwall then looked to seek out front runner Tom Bradshaw with a couple of crosses to no avail before Long had to be called into action again, with 6 minutes played as he rushed out to block Chuba Akpom's goal-bound shot. The Lions were then able to string a few passes together for the first time in the game with 15 minutes on the clock, but the attack was to end with Zion Fleming firing at Zach Stefan from outside the penalty area. Long sprang into action at the midway point of the half to claw a dangerous Crooks cross away from the 6-yard box, whilst George Honeyman's cross was just too long for the outstretched leg of Andres Bogusama moments later. The Lions found themselves in a 4-on-1 situation with 39 minutes played, but after breaking away from a corner kick, Styles got the ball caught under his feet on the halfway line, and Middlesbrough won back possession. Crooks and Murray Wallace then traded headers over the crossbar as the half-time whistle came into sight. 6 minutes into the second half, there was a chance for Middlesbrough, but a fantastic last-ditch challenge from Sean Hutchinson prevented Crooks from travelling Long from close range. On 54 minutes, however, there was nothing the defence could do as Force was able to take advantage of the ball bouncing back in his path from a block by Wallace to open the scoring with a strike across goal. In the immediate aftermath of the goal, Jake Cooper, who suffered an injury minutes before, had to be withdrawn, with former Boroughman George Saville his replacement, with the next opportunity of the game going the home side's way, only for the lively Crooks to fire wide. Fleming's determined run took him past two Middlesbrough defenders on the hour mark. They found his pass to Honeyman blocked before Styles, now at left back following the switch of Murray Wallace to centre half, fired at Stefan. The pressing of Bradshaw and Saville nearly led to a mistake between Stefan and Borough captain Johnny Howson as the Lions began to up their ante. Before Millwall almost grabbed an equaliser, Stefan fumbled on the edge of the 6-yard box, but Chuba Akpom was just able to beat Saville to the ball. Bradshaw headed Saville's cross over as the final 5 minutes got underway, with Hayden Ackley striking a rare second half effort for the hosts over on 88 minutes. There was no goal mouth action following those chances, with referee Matthew Donoghue blowing time on the Lions' defeat soon after. And the Millwall team was as follows: Long, Hutchinson, Cooper, Wallace, McNamara, Mitchell, Bogusama, Honeyman, Styles, Fleming, and Bradshaw. And the substitutes were Saville 54 minutes for Cooper, who went off injured, Shackleton on 83 minutes for Mitchell, Bennett on the 70th minute for Bogusama, Essay on the 83rd minute for Honeyman, and the unused subs were Białkowski, Cresswell, and George Evans. So there you go. Yes. So the attendance was 24,614 with 505 Millwall fans. Yeah, the goal. Murray Wallace. It's the commentators said at the time that they said something like a lot of Middlesbrough's goals have been scored in the 15 minutes after half time, and literally just after they said that, they ended up scoring. And seeing it on the highlights, so the ball's played in behind the Mill back line into the wing behind Murray Wallace. He's running back. He gets back in time. He blocks a shot. The strength of the shot knocks him down to the ground. He's on his hands and knees, and unfortunately, the shot that he blocked goes straight back to the geezer, who controls it immediately. And seeing that Murray Wallace is down on his knees, he cuts inside, takes a touch on his to get onto his left foot, and fires it towards goal through Hutch's legs and past George Long. And so that was that. And when you look at it, you look at it's like a Murray Wallace error, but he's doing his nut. It was a bit lucky for them, to be honest with you. But Murray Wallace is not happy. He's gesticulating up the pitch. And I think it's like Jake Cooper, because someone in midfield, I didn't see it, was kind of closing down, and Jake Cooper pushes forward to help them out to get the ball, but he doesn't get the ball. And then before he gets there, they play it past him. So he's obviously stepped forward and left the gap behind him. So I think that's what Murray Wallace is moaning about. But yeah, the substitutions when they came on were a lot. Joel Saville, Romain Esse, seemed to be a breath of fresh air. And it kind of left you wondering, like, why did George Saville not start? And apparently Callum Starr was the last game he came off. He left the ground in a protected boot. If that's the case, why are you starting in this game? Why not bring George Saville in? Like, Saville and Mitchell have been phenomenal. And Saville, when he came on, was phenomenal. So it's kind of weird team selection now. I don't know what the hell that was about. Maybe Saville's got a bit of a knock or something. I don't know, but it was kind of a weird one. Was it enough to cost us the game? I don't know, but when you see George Saville going back to his former club that he played for, he's obviously well motivated to do well against them, prove something against them, and he doesn't even start. So kind of a weird one, but what can you do? Like that. This was a game that we were probably going to lose, and we did lose it. So, but it wasn't for the want of trying. So, I don't think it was. So, comments from the managers now. Millwall manager Rowett, an honest assessment after defeat to Championship playoff rivals Bra. Garrett admitted, this is from London News Online.co.uk. Garrett admitted that Millwall had to do more after coming up short against Middlesbrough on Saturday afternoon. The Lions were forced to defend for the majority of the first half, but were undone by Forz's strike just 9 minutes after the break and were unable to restore parity before time ran out. Rowett was satisfied with elements of Millwall's performance against the Riverside team, but conceded he was disappointed that his side didn't show more belief during the match. I think it's a tough place to come, Rowett told the Millwall team. They've been on a fabulous run under Michael. He's done really a good job, and you can feel the buzz around the place. We got a game plan really spot on the first half. We frustrated them and made it very difficult to play through us.
Had we shown a little bit more quality and belief on the ball, then we'd have maybe got into even more positions in an attacking sense. We had a few good half chances in the first half. Muzza won from a set piece where he just needs to glance it. He gets too much on it. Stylesy, we have a 4-on-1. As good as a breakaway as you'll see, and all he's got to do is get it out of his feet and he hits his heel. It was a missed opportunity, but we did a lot of things well. They were always going to have little moments of pressure. The crowd get up and it feels worse. But I can't remember long you have to make too many saves. There was one good one in the first half where he comes out and smothers the attack. But other than that, not a lot. As an away performance, up until that point, I was quite happy. The challenge is when they get a little break for the goal, which is a great finish. All of a sudden, you're chasing the game rather than hoping you can pick them off in that 0-0 situation. And that was the disappointment to go 1-0 down. We just needed to play with a bit more quality at times because when we did, we got into good areas and I felt we could open them up on the transition in particular. We've had some good moments, but again, half moments are not great chances.
Mill struggled to impose themselves during a frenetic first half, which was dominated by Borough, who caused the Lions issues with their aggressive press. We're outside had chances after the break and switched things up with Mason Bennett, Roman Ayers and Jamie Shackleton all coming on. However, those changes failed to yield a goal. The Lions chief added,
That's what you've got to do when you're a team that come away from home. You're going to have to stop them playing though and frustrate them. And when you've done that, then you've got to maintain that threat and transition all the time. You have to be able to move the ball and put them under pressure. But we didn't do that at times. It's the first pass to get away and it's a poor pass or the touch is poor. We have to work a lot harder than teams like Middlesbrough in some ways. They've got a lot of quality on the bench, they've got quality on the pitch, and so have we. But we don't quite have as many options as that, so we have to be at our best. Against the ball, we were good. On the ball, at times, we were good. But just not quite enough, and in the moments we did have, we didn't make them count. Overall, there's very little I could really criticise the players for today. It's just one of those days where those small margins go against us.
Indeed. Indeed. I think that probably fairly sums it up. So this is from southwarknews.co.uk. It might be the same, I haven't checked it yet. Gary Rowett reacts as Mill slipped to narrow defeat away at Middlesbrough. The Lions' lack of end product in the final third was the main reason for the day's defeat at the Riverside Stadium. Okay. Pardon me.
I thought it was a difficult game. Rowett said after the game. I thought we did a lot of things really, really well. We showed that again that we're a tough side to play against, a difficult side to play against. What you're hoping for is that one moment that goes for you rather than against you. Obviously, they're going to have more possession. They're going to have moments where the crowd lift them, and that's that little bit of excitement as they break. But I think George,
it's basically the same thing though. Yeah, it's basically the same thing, so it's more or less the same. So let's just skip over that and go to the injury to Jake Cooper. Didn't look good. I think he may have broken his coccyx or bruised his coccyx. He fell on his arse, so let's hope it's not too bad because we've got one more game now next week, and then we've got a couple of weeks off. Don't have a game for 2 weeks, so we've got a week off. So this is from LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Mill boss unable to provide instant injury update on centre back Jake Cooper, defender forced off at Middlesbrough. Gary Rowett admits that it's too early to tell whether or not Jake Cooper will face an extended spell on the sidelines after the defender picked up an injury in Saturday's 1-0 defeat at Middlesbrough. The Lions centre back landed awkwardly after attacking a set piece early in the second half and attempted to play on. But Cooper was visibly struggling and was withdrawn minutes after Middlesbrough took the lead through Marcus Force. Rowett was unsure over the extent of Cooper's issue, but he's hopeful that it would not lead to a prolonged absence for the 27-year-old. Speaking about Cooper's injury after the match, Rowett said,
I think it was his glute or his back. He's landed awkwardly on the player's boot or the player's body, I think. You could see straight away he was struggling. I'll have to see the goal again. It was one of those moments afterwards, and he wasn't moving great. I'd have to see if it affects the way we were defending as a team. It's obviously not Coops' fault, but it's a moment where we've been punished. When he came off, I just thought we had to go attacking as we possibly could, and that meant putting Starsley to left back and going with another attacking option. Disappointing, but hopefully it's not too bad. It's probably too early to say.
So yeah, too early to say. Now, obviously, so Cooper going off, that affected our plan B, which is hoof it up, and we did have quite a few free kicks in the end, in the second half, where we could have done that. Wasn't an option, so missing. So obviously, like he was, I think if he'd have just maybe if he hadn't tried to play on, if he'd have come off straight away, would we have conceded? I think that's what they're trying to suggest there. Because Murray Wallace wasn't happy with Cooper. I assume it was with Cooper. But we will see. I don't know. But yeah, not looking good, is it? Not looking good. We've got a threadbare thin squad, and we're getting injuries now, so not ideal. So, in terms of the squad being thin, we need to make it a bit fatter. And here we go again, Garrett speaking again about that. So we're working very hard. Millwall boss Rout knows the importance of transfer window incomings. Gary Rout has said that Millwall are desperately trying to bolster their squad this month, following Saturday's 1-0 defeat against Middlesbrough. The Lions, who were 6 prior to the defeat at Riverside, are now 2 points outside of third places. They still have a game in hand, and the majority teams above them. Although that game in hand is against Luton, and more on that later as we look at the table. Millwall are yet to make a sign in the January transfer window. We've signed a Damo Maku. I beg to differ. Don't know who the fuck he is because we haven't seen him play yet because he's injured as well. So, where are we? But I've allowed Isaac Loffey, Benica Faber to leave the club. Youngster Hayden Muller was also given the green light to join Dundalk on Friday. And apparently George Evans might be off as well, but we need to sign a replacement first. Rout stressed that the Lions are working hard to try and get through the door to supplement their playoff push and admitted that they need to strengthen before the window shuts again. We're working very hard, Rout told Millwall team. It's always difficult. The challenge we have is you feel we're always a couple of signings away from being a top side. It's really hard to make those top quality signings though. Again, the difference sometimes is that Middlesbrough can bring someone like Cameron Archer on, which is a deal that wasn't possible for someone like us. They don't even have to start him. But we are working very, very hard. We're desperately trying to strengthen the squad, and we need to. Indeed. Well, we wait and see. Who are they bringing in? He said they're trying to bring in 2 people earlier in the week. You assume a striker, or maybe either a centre back or a centre midfielder. You don't know, but or another winger. We don't know. Players that we've been linked with have gone elsewhere. Jamal Lowe's gone elsewhere. So is that the difficult thing that he's talking about? Like we're trying to sign players and they don't want us to come and sign us. Because obviously there's a lot of competition for the best players, and when we can't quite get the deals over the line, but we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Now, moving on to this from the official site. This got posted up this morning. New date for Millwall versus Burnley. Obviously, that game was postponed due to Burnley's involvement in the FA Cup fourth round. So we've got the game away at Cardiff next Saturday on the 21st. Then we've got a week off. So if you want to take the missus somewhere, a dirty weekend, that's your chance. But yeah, Millwall Skybet Championship fixture at home to Burnley will now take place on Tuesday, the 21st of February. Kick off at 7:45 p.m. Pardon me. The game was originally scheduled to take place on Saturday, the 28th of January, but owing to the ground's progression in the Emirates FA Cup, that date was no longer available. Tickets for the visit of Vince and Company's men are now on sale. click here for more details. So yeah, that means adding that game to February. February is gonna be a real damn fandabidozy. So here's what we got upcoming. We got the game next week away at Cardiff City. They've got a FA Cup replay against Leeds in midweek, and they've just sacked their manager because they lost today. They're just above the relegation zone, so. And I hear that the fans are trying to organise a protest against the chairman, so should be a fun one next week. Should be an absolute fun one. And then obviously we got the week off, and then we got February, which is looking to be an absolute test of strength and will and guile and everything. It's gonna be tough. We got Sunderland at the 10. We got QPR away. We got Coventry away midweek. Between the Sheffield United and QPR games. Sheffield United's at the Den on Saturday, but early kick-off, so watch for that. And then after that, on the Tuesday after the Sheffield United game, we've got Burnley at home. We've got a top two in the league, back to back, Saturday and Tuesday. What the crazy? And then we go to probably the most winnable game of the month, right at the end, Stoke away, which isn't that winnable at all in terms of away games. But there you go. So it's going to be a tough one. And here you go. This is how the table stands now. We are in 8th place, 39 points, alongside Norwich and Luton. And as we said, the game in hand. We've got a game in hand against many of the teams around us. But that game in hand is against Luton, which was postponed over Christmas. And as you can see, they are 1 point. They're on the same amount of points as us, just one place below. And they had a bit of a fun game today. They were 2-0 up against West Bromwich Albion. They lost 3-2. I don't know if you remember back in October when we played West Brom at the Den, and everyone was taking the piss out of Jed Wallace because he left us for a team that's in the relegation places. Well, they are now in the playoffs. They are 6. And that's what winning can do for you. You can see here they've won 5 of their last 6, and they've won more before that, and that's fired them up into 6th place. And if we look at Blackburn, their schizoid season continues. They have 2 wins and 4 defeats in the last 6 games, but they remain in the playoff places. They are the only team in the top 11 to be on a minus goal difference. They've won 14 games, but they've lost 13. The only teams who's lost more games than that are 2 of the teams in the bottom, Wigan and Huddersfield. So, proper schizoid performance from Blackburn. Today's opponents, who beat us today, Middlesbrough, are 4th in the table, and you've got to think they're going to be there or thereabouts after what we saw today. And they similarly, they have 5 wins out of their last 6 games, only losing to Burnley. So, I mean, with form like that, I mean, maybe Sheffield United better watch out, because they might be another contender for 2nd place there. They did look very good under a new. It's amazing what a new manager can do for you. Because under Chris Wilder, they were absolute dog shit. And Watford, the 2 times we played Watford, they looked absolutely dire against us both times. But for some reason, when they played the rest of the league, they managed to beat them. So I don't know how or what the hell that was going on there. But yeah, they beat Blackpool today. And they beat Norwich before that. So, but against us, they were absolutely dire, and they sit in 3rd place on 43 points. So yeah, that's how the table looks now. And we go to, as we just spoke, we go to Cardiff, who haven't won in the last 6. but just above the relegation places. They've got an FA Cup replay midweek against the Premier League team. They've just fired the manager, so how are we going to do that? We're going to win that game or we're going to lose that? That's if we put the same level of performance in versus Cardiff next week as we did today against Middlesbrough, we'll probably run out 3-0 winners, but easier said than done, especially in this league. And then, as we just said, we go to Sunderland, then we go to QPR, we got Coventry, we got Sheffield United, we got Burnley, and then we got Stoke away, another team struggling. So, going to be a hell of a month coming up in February. It's going to be make or break. And if you want to be a top team, you've got to be a top team, literally. You've got to go out and prove it week after week after week. And we'll see how we get on with that. If we scroll down and have a look, you can see here the top scorers at the moment. Zion Fleming obviously didn't score today. He's joint 5th in the rankings. Chubak Pom didn't score today either. He remains top with 13. But there's that. So yeah, there we are. Inevitable defeat today. Middlesbrough 1-0. Leaves us just outside the playoffs, but I say it's where you are at the end of the season. And we know our away form's bad. It's the home form that's keeping us up there. And we'll see. We will see. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.